Y'all have asked me about Teal Swan. Here's a bit about her from Conspirituality, how New Age conspiracies became a health threat. Mary Bosworth is now known as Teal Swan, and she was a survivor of the Satanic Panic, which was conspiritualists telling children and implanting memories in children that they had been ritually abused in these ritualistic things, and it was a big thing in the 80s and 90s. None of it turned out to be true. Mary Bosworth is now known as Teal Swan, which better suits her fashion. Via designer clothes, oversaturated lighting, and dramatic makeup, her image leaps out of the screen like the cover of a fantasy novel. It's not a surprise that she has attracted a flurry of media attention, including a well-researched podcast series with journalist Jennings Brown and a highly sensationalistic streaming docuseries on Hulu. But the real hook for her 1.2 million followers on Facebook, 1.7 million on YouTube, and over 300,000 on Instagram is her claim that she suffered 13 years of abuse in a schmurderous Mormon satanic cult where she was routinely tortured, made to torture other children, and once spent 12 hours sewn into a corpse. And again, she's not a survivor of this. She's a survivor of a psychologist who was a conspiritualist planting this in her head. Conspiritualist. On the basis of these stories, but without training, qualifications, or oversight, Swan developed a signature method for healing deep trauma that she calls the completion process. 50 practitioners trained in the method are listed on her website. She also invites followers to a $5,000 week-long retreat at her casa in Costa Rica. Some retreatants end up never leaving, choosing instead to live there and work for Swan as unpaid volunteers. It's a cult. Swan also sells tarot decks, online courses for about $200 each, and frequency paintings that she claims are medicinal and will help people to manifest what they want in their lives. Alongside promoting a dubious backstory, Swan drew fire in 2012 by describing unaliving yourself as a reset button. In 2019, Facebook shut down one of her private groups out of concern that members had attempted unaliving, and one had succeeded, after exposure to Swan's views on the subject. Claiming to have attempted unaliving several times herself, Swan feels she is qualified to offer advice. In 2006, Barbara Snow filed a complaint with the North Park Police Department in North Logan, Utah, on behalf of her patient, Teal Swan. This is the psychologist from earlier, alleging that a man had ritually abused her when she was between the ages of 7 and 19. According to the police report, Snow accompanied Swan to a meeting with a detective who interviewed Swan and received her prepared written statement, which detailed a series of abject memories. At first, Swan asked the detective not to pursue the case, but when a few months later she asked for the investigation to be open, the medical examiner could find no evidence of the injuries Swan had described as resulting from the abuse. Then the detective examined Swan's childhood diaries, which supposedly contained evidence that she was recording the crimes at the time. On Snow's suggestion, Swan had circled relevant passages in red. The detective noted that the passages referred to dark sadness, hopelessness, and pain. Disturbing for a child of 7 or 8, but normal for a Mormon child, by the way. But he found no specific reference to the abuse. Swan told the detective that she had been writing in a secret language. After the deputy county attorney looked into Snow's history of false accusations, Swan's files were closed, the psychologist's history of false accusations, forcing her story back into the realm of the channeled, where anything is possible.